Great Guitar Build Off 2020 Unofficial entry is complete. So what I'm doing is a final super edit of pretty much everything from when I started doing work on the neck finishes to where it is now. A little bit of a glimpse, and if you've been following my Instagram, you'd have seen a recent post, my most recent post at the time of filming was like photos of this guitar. So yeah, as you probably already know, this was my first build ever, and I brought it. It originally started off me wanting to have an electric guitar because I don't have an electric guitar, and I've always liked building stuff, and basically I thought I heard of these kit guitars and started watching some videos on building guitars and things, and I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool, and thought, make a project out of it. And so I've made a project out of it, and also coincidentally, pretty much as soon as I got the guitar, the Great Guitar Build Along was announced. The Great Guitar Build Off had already been going on, and door just opens. And I was following along. I was going to follow along anyway, but then the actual competition came up, and so yeah, I thought, why not? I'll join in, have a bit of fun, and I don't know about you, but I think I've got a pretty nice guitar out of it, and it's luckily fully functional. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off, putting some Carbethane clear finish on my neck. I think I didn't get the greatest results with this finish, but yeah, it was probably partly my fault, because on the body I ran my hands down on it with some of the blue finish, and it kind of lost a bit of its red mahogany colour. But on the neck, I'm satisfied, and it feels very nice. So yeah, the neck was easy to do, just here with a brush. Just, as you can see, careful strokes. So I have apparently lost the footage of my back of the neck look, but this is the front of the neck and the headstock with the nice black colour. And now moving on to the body, I'm about to dye the body, and this is the body after I've sanded it down to approximately 420 grit. I don't know with my sanding blocks, but I'm predicting. And so what I'm doing here is going in with a green black, this colour is called, to accent the grain. This method, really worked for the pine I was using for tests, but it seems to have turned out really well with the flame maple as well. Trying to ignore my lips moving as much as you possibly can, because I was talking, and yeah, some of the stuff I said wasn't really relevant or useful. But so at this point, I'm trying my best to get an even coat. It was, as you'll see, very hard with this colour, but it evened out a lot with the blue. yeah, this is the result of one light layer of the black green. Obviously, as you can see, very, very green. And a little bit of an issue I got a little bit anxious about was up here, how the wood wasn't soaking it in as much as I would have liked. But I think that was a result of me putting the linseed oil on before dyeing, and I know now not to do that. I kind of did that just because I was bored and I was trying to slow myself down. But yeah, otherwise pretty happy with this. At one point I thought that this was kind of the colour that I wanted to go for anyway, and almost kept it, but I knew that I wanted a blue, and I'm much happier with the colour I have now. And here's a quick time lapse of me putting the first coat of blue on. Yeah, this blue I'm not diluting it with methylated spirits like was recommended, because I want a dark blue. And even then, as you'll see now, after a little bit of sanding, it's still very light, but obviously as I build up it gets darker, and as you just saw there, still a little bit around the edges, hasn't soaked in as much, but you can see how much the grain is accented at the moment. Yeah, and I'm very happy with how it all turned out. Yeah, with the black hole, wasn't hoping for much, but yeah, got there in the end. And this will be the second coat of blue, and this is where it kind of starts to take its final colour. I did quite a few coats that I haven't shown here, but yeah, I probably ended up doing about 3 or 4, possibly even 5 coats. But this here is now what it looks like after the second coat of blue. The grain is kind of fading away a little bit more after this coat, but as I started putting the linseed oil and things like that on, it accents and looks beautiful. And here is probably one of the last coats of me doing it, me applying the stain dye, and you can see my dad a little bit there. Yeah, and this is what it looks like after. Sorry, my siblings are doing whatever. And yeah, you can see how much the grain has opened up, and I'm really happy with the results I got from the linseed oil. And you can see here a lot of red as well. It's brought out all the colours in the dye, and it makes it look, like my sister said, like if a tiger was like in the sea, a blue tiger. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to say it. But yeah, really happy with how this worked out. And now what I'm doing is applying the Carbethane Clear again. Yeah, like I said before, not stoked about the results I got with that. Especially how it got mixed with the blue and stuff, but that's mostly my fault. But yeah, still reasonably challenging to apply, especially for my first guitar, not really knowing how to do it. And yeah, next time I reckon I'm going to be using a spray-on lacquer or something, like my good friend Alex Stevens, the other junior builder in this competition, did. Yeah, here's me going over the top of the body now again. Yeah, and that will be it for the finishing that I'll show you. And now I'm gluing the neck in. And I had quite a bit of trouble with this because the neck was not strong enough for the strings. It was strong enough, I thought it was going to be completely strong enough because I was bending it and doing all sorts of stuff, and it carried its own weight really well. but as soon as I put the strings on, it came off. And I don't have footage for the first time I put the strings on because I was actually at school, because I was trying to get this in really early. But yeah, then what I ended up doing actually was bolting it on the hard way, without making like pilot holes through the neck socket. And what happened was I ended up, as you'll see in a sec, just drilling them straight in and kind of guesstimating where they'd come through. But it turned out in the end, as you'll see. Yep. Now the neck's going in, obviously. And yeah, I was really anxious here. I was kind of anticipating and wondering whether my glue was strong enough, which, like I said, proved that it wasn't. This is just all-purpose, called all-fix glue, and it's not the greatest. I need some specified wood glue, I reckon, if I'm gonna start gluing them in properly. Yeah, another problem might have been the clamps. I only had 2 clamps and they only just reached over, but you know, it ended all right, so pretty happy with it. Yeah, and so I left this to dry for about 14 hours. And now I'm over here. What I'm doing is, you really can't see, this video editing app isn't the greatest. It doesn't give you the full frame, but you can kind of see that I'm marking out the bits for the tuning pegs, and now what I'm doing is drilling the holes for the tuning pegs. Yeah, so my dad helped quite a bit with this, keeping everything stable, and yeah, helping me with the wiring and stuff, which was a challenge. And I was whizzing past this, but I'm screwing in the strap buttons, strap mounts. Yeah, now I'm drilling for the pickup surrounds, so I can just screw those in and putting in the pickups. Now what I assume I'm doing is, here I'm putting the jack in. Before I was putting the jack in, now I'm putting the truss rod cover on. Yeah, so no dramas with that. And now drilling for the cavity cover. And now we're getting started with some wiring. As you can see, my dad doing quite a bit, helping quite a bit, and I unfortunately burnt myself a bit while doing the wiring, but yeah, just very slightly. I touched the shaft. It's a pretty big soldering iron. Yeah, but otherwise no other dramas. Got it all working. Understood the wiring diagram that I got, and got some help from some of my dad's friends at school, because my dad is a teacher at my school, and yeah, got some connections. And yeah, here just screwing in the jack, the output jack, and pulling through the dials and the switch. Yeah, now screwing on the switches, and I had a bit of a problem with that because the washer couldn't fit on, and I just had to screw it on without the washer. Yeah, now screwing the pickup, the cavity cover on. And here's our first really good look at the guitar. So now what I'm going to do is, now I'm drilling holes for the bolts that I had to put in because the glue wasn't strong enough, like I said. And yeah, I had to get two long ones to go into the actual neck, and two shorter ones because they would drill into the cavity, the neck pickup cavity. So the neck, because the neck joins the cavity, it fills the cavity, the bottom bit of the cavity. And yeah, so no dramas with that. Pretty lucky there. And now I'm stringing up for the second time. No dramas just yet with the neck socket. And now let's jump straight into a sound demo. A little bit shaky with the tone there, but otherwise not too bad. Yeah, here are some pictures of it, the final thing, and thank you so much for watching.